Hi, and welcome to this episode of AdTastic. I'm your host, Tony Stanall, and today we're talking with Taylor Gaines, owner of Social Gains. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi, Tony. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Yes, you've got a topical subject to cover today, but tell us how you got into social media. What's your backstory?
Yeah, I love this question. I started in advertising fairly young. I think I was 19 when I began my first internship at a national agency while I was in school. And I had a unique opportunity where I was trained under the CEO and across the board. So I was trained in everything from media buying, public relations, copywriting, web design, package design, the back end of how to run an agency. So I kind of had a smorgasbord of opportunity to learn a bunch of different things. And I was on a little bit of a fast track as well. And the short story there is social media was just becoming a viable solution for brands at the time. It was in the very early stages of Facebook. I think they were just in process of looking to buy Instagram. So you can imagine how long ago that was. And, it was kind of right place, right time. I was, of course, the youngest person in the agency. So I think they looked at me as someone who had the closest, kind of tangible experience with it since I grew up with social media. And so that's pretty much how I got my start. They needed to fill a role and they're like, well, you understand it, get in there. And that's pretty much how it started.
I'd be hard pressed to find anyone who isn't touched in some way by social media. But why don't you tell us what you do there and what some of the recent developments are in the medium?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the reasons that makes us different is a little bit of our approach and our viewpoint on social media. I really look at it as the center of modern marketing today because it does span across, traditional marketing activations. It spans across customer service and even sales today. In a lot of situations, I would even argue that it also works with your marketing technology stack and with your marketing automation and operations as well. So it really does present itself in almost every vein of, kind of marketing or business, depending on how you're using it. And so what we really do is look at more the infrastructure and the foundations to understand, how are we helping companies maximize time, money, and resources based on what we know they need to execute through social media today.
Right. Now, I've heard you quoted recently, and tell me if I'm off here, but you said that brands need authentic conversations. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. So my opinion is brands need to have a point of view and they really need to focus on creating a dialogue with their customer. And a lot of that
Mhm.
can be presented not only through the content they produce, but also through the direct messaging that they have directly with their prospective customer, current customers, past customers. And it's all about authenticity. And so, I see a lot of brands, and I think we see this across the board, right? Is like the brands that don't own their mistakes, aren't transparent about it, aren't just,
Mhm.
owning up to that authenticity. Those are the ones that usually get blasted across social media, simply because they're not being authentic. So I think, if we look at the root of like brand values, I think that helps really ground brands in that authenticity to go, how are we going to respond on the customer service side? How are we going to create content that really represents who we are and our voice and what we're trying to sell or promote? And also, like, how are we going to start new conversations with prospective customers and remain authentic in how we're reaching out?
Fantastic. We have a couple of seconds left. If you can briefly summarize what you see around the corner, what's next in social media? Any new platforms? Anything new?
I think efficiency and the consolidation of channels is going to be next. We're already seeing it in the direct message arena. So Facebook has already made plans and they're already executing on those plans of integrating Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, and WhatsApp because they own all
Mm,
of that. And so,
mm,
part of the issue today is we're so fragmented. And at the end of the day, like you, Tony, are still Tony, whether you're on LinkedIn, email, Instagram, Facebook, you're still one person. So
right.
we're so fragmented in how we're trying to communicate that I think the consolidation of those channels to make it simpler to have conversations is where we're going next.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us and enlightening us about social media. I learned a lot in this short 5 minutes.
I love the rapid fire. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of AdTastic. You know where you could find out more about Taylor Gaines? That's at dailyadbrief.com. We'll see you next time.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.